Long before Anthony Bourdain was a household name, he was a New York City chef. Part of his appeal came from him avoiding high-end restaurants that cost a lot of money and instead hitting the streets looking for what the locals ate. What he was really looking for was how each area that he visited used its natural environment to create a tasteful experience for people. An experience that truly reflected everything around it: the people, their heritage, what they valued, and what as a community they looked forward to in the future. In other words, he was looking at the world through their eyes. The magic of any recipe isn't just using high quality ingredients, but also in how you combine all of them together to create something with an even more magnificent taste at the end. The whole idea of 1 + 1 = 3, or even 4 or 5. Finding your own recipe for a tasteful business environment is just as important. It's also one that will make you highly memorable, just like all of those beautiful locations around the world that Anthony visited. As with all great cooking, there are many ingredients when it comes to creating a cohesive culture and an enticing business environment for your company. A wonderful opportunity for you to consider is how you can combine different products to create a strong cultural feel for your office, one that resonates with customers, but also with employees. This is important because this feeling of community in the workplace is becoming a bigger factor when keeping employees engaged and happy at work. With the trend of quiet quitting and employees feeling disconnected from the work that they do, creating a culture in which employees feel like they belong is more important than ever. What your office looks like is just one of the ways to create a tangible expression of what matters. Leaders may say that creative thinking is an important value, but if your office is nothing more than rows and rows of cubes under blinking fluorescent lights, and there's no sign of personality anywhere, it's pretty clear how you really feel about creative thinking. McKinsey Consulting says that one of the top reasons that over half of all employees give when they quit their job is that they don't feel a sense of belonging. After years of social isolation and working from home and hybrid working, and lots of uncertainty about the economy, employees crave connection and community in the workplace. In fact, the O.C. Tanner Institute Global Culture Report points out that 72% of employees say it's important for them to feel part of a community at work. When companies invest the time to create a community-led culture and then have the physical environment to reinforce this message, they see higher levels of employee tenure and a lower probability of employees actively looking for a new job. Employees are having trouble making emotional connections with other people they work with, and also with their employers and what they stand for. It's one thing for leaders to talk about purpose and values and culture, but it's another thing for them to make it real for employees every single day. For both employees and customers, this is a case of not realizing that oftentimes the devil is in the details. Think about all of the little details of how and where your brand shows up in your business. This is more than what your website looks like or your email signature. It's the real physical space that people spend time in and how it reinforces the culture of your company. There are obvious places, such as your waiting area or the front desk of your office. This is your big opportunity to make a splash with your culture. Does a space that's calming and relaxing support your brand? Are you looking for something sleek that reinforces that you're a trendy tech company? Maybe you want something that's colorful, that gives off the right energy. Think about the kinds of graphics you have in this area and all of the supporting elements that you see. As you move through your place of business, whether it's an office or a retail shop or a restaurant, think about what you experience from the perspective of a customer or an employee. For example, if you own a seafood restaurant, you could reinforce that theme by posting your specials and listing them as a whale of a deal. A waiting area for kids could be the minnow pool. Maybe you have different animals on the doors for restrooms, and you could have a starfish award for the employee of the month. Maybe you could look into how you can bring your past into the present and tap into it to make everything feel fresh again. Think of it as a way to use nostalgia marketing in your own business environment. The psychology behind nostalgia marketing is simple. Brands provoke emotions and evoke memories by serving up images of the past, and this leads to an emotional reaction when people see the brand. We see this in fashion all the time with trends that are revived every 10, 20, or even 30 years. Right now, we see fashion that's coming back from the 1990s with mood rings, graphic t-shirts, and ripped jeans. And it's coming back in a bigger way with how brands show up. When COVID-19 shut down many businesses, some took the time to reflect on what their brand history meant and how they could use it to become more distinctive. Pepsi is celebrating its 125th anniversary by giving a nod back to their history in a 1950s diner experience. RBI, the parent company of Burger King, saw their shares jump almost 8% after the fast food restaurant revealed a new look for its logo that's based on a classic identity. Some of those nostalgic look-backs are so powerful because of the values that they represent. Corporate values can be great for customers, but even bigger for employees. Getting creative with how and where you post them can be fun. For example, at the headquarters for Spanx, they have dedicated an entire wall to the creative display of a company's mission and values. Awards are another opportunity to underscore culture. As employees feel a loss of connection with their workplace, they're eager for a sense of belonging. This is a wonderful opportunity to increase the appreciation you shower on people and build a feeling of community with tools like symbolic awards. Symbolic awards used to mean things like Employee of the Month or a top performer. These were usually generic, nondescript, and impersonal. Today, symbolic awards are thoughtfully created to reflect what matters most to a company and its employees. They also represent the employees' hard work that went into the achievement. They don't have to be elaborate or expensive to have an impact, but they must be meaningful. O.C. Tanner points out that recognizing your employees can improve workplace culture, help build a strong work environment of belonging and community. It decreases burnout and creates a workplace where employees want to stay and encourages employees, which can double their productivity. When done well, awards help strengthen an employee's connection with their team, their leader, and their employer. Meaningful symbols help communicate your company's history and achievements and link them to your brand and your purpose. In fact, employees are 3 times more likely to remember the celebration and recognition when it includes an actual award. This helps build the emotional connection to your company's culture. You can use rewards throughout the journey with employees, even as early as onboarding. That's the perfect time to reinforce your workplace culture and community from day one. Creating a physical space that's welcoming is important, but safety is another element of many brands' cultures, especially if your business is in manufacturing or warehousing. There are a number of elements that reinforce this cultural message of safety. As you go down this path, make sure that your signage complies with OSHA and local and federal accessibility laws. Another opportunity to bring your culture front and center in your office is if you're going through a rebranding or a merger and an acquisition. Think about how you bring all of the ways you can use signage, from wayfinding, the entire look and feel of your culture through the products that you use. This is a wonderful way to enhance the experience that you create. and help employees feel that they are an important part of a much bigger journey. For example, when H.J. Heinz and Kraft Foods agreed to merge in 2015, the Kraft Heinz company became the third largest food and beverage company in the United States and the fifth largest in the world. Having an office environment that continually reminded employees that they were now part of a much bigger vision was an important part of recognizing the nostalgia of the companies that they came from, while also building their new culture together. Just like with great cooking, great culture takes time. When you regularly put attention on the details of your culture, it reminds people that it's not only important, but that they have a critical part to play, and their experiences and contributions matter.